Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Modern Investing on Pod TV. My name is Sasha Star, and today guests we have Dr. Milan Sombrach. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me, Sasha. Delighted to be here.
Thank you. And we are expecting Jim Eid from Eid Foundation. I don't know if he's already here or maybe he will join us later. So, in any case, Milan, you wanted to present a novelty of investing and which will beat the market easily and quite handsomely. I'm all ears, same as our listeners. Please.
Well, I'm sorry that Jim E isn't here. Is that him coming? Hey, Jim.
I'm sorry, I was playing a game of chess.
You came right on time because now you will hear a novelty investment idea from Dr. Milan Sombrach.
How are you, Milan?
The better for having seen you.
Thank
And then when you hear what I have to say today, you can just do what I'm about to describe and just spend your whole time playing chess. You cannot spend too much time playing chess. So can I go ahead and describe my idea now, Sasha?
Yes.
Oh,
You're up.
you have 5 minutes. Go.
Oh, maybe less than 5 minutes. What investors need to do is open a margin account in US dollars. Canadian investors need to do that. Americans can do that in any account. So they got a margin account in US dollars, and they buy 100 shares. They buy a board lot of SPY. So SPY is now trading at about $640. So they need about $66,000 to put into that account. And once they do, they write covered calls on SPY deep into the money in order to get a very interesting and a handsome premium income. What's the risk of that? Well, the risk of that is they're going to be assigned. And when they're assigned, they will be in cash. Once they're in cash, they can write cash covered puts far enough out of the money to make and get an interesting premium income. So they're constantly either in SPY or in cash. When in SPY, go deep into the money to get an interesting premium income. You will get assigned. Once you get assigned, you're in cash. Go far enough out of the money to get a decent premium income, and then you will be assigned again back in SPY. So either investors doing this own SPY or they own cash. And so when in cash, go far enough out of the money to get a decent premium income. When assigned, you're back in SPY. Go deep enough into the money to get a decent premium income. Takes no time at all, and is the best. I've been investing for over 50 years. Nothing comes close to what I just described. And I don't think it took 5 minutes.
Well, Milan, what do you mean by deep into the money?
If you sell covered calls just outside the money, you get a premium income that doesn't compare in the amount that when you go deeper into the money. And the deeper into the money you go, the greater the premium income.
Right. But what does deeper into the money mean?
Instead of selling covered calls at the money.
You mean at the market price?
At the market price, yeah.
So deep into the money means you go deep, lower than the market?
Lower than the market, lower than the market. And you get low enough to get a decent premium income.
Okay, so you basically pick that number based on when the premium gets to where you want it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Then once you're there, you're going to get assigned. And when you're assigned, you're in cash. When you're in cash, you go out of the money sufficiently to get a decent premium income. So either you're in cash or in SPY, and when in cash, go far enough out of the money to get a decent premium income. You'll get assigned, you're back in SPY, then go deep into the money to get a decent premium income. Again, you'll be assigned. So either you're in SPY or in cash, and you're constantly making money effortlessly.
The premium.
I've been investing for more than 50 years. Nothing comes close to investing this way. So there it is.
I understand. And so when you're assigned, you're going to sell puts above what the market is.
Right.
It's dangerous, though. It's
Sorry?
dangerous. It's very dangerous because obviously you will be put the stock, and if market goes down substantially, which is quite typical for this time of the year, then you will be you will eat.
It doesn't seem to matter what the market does, Sasha.
Really?
Yeah, because you're constantly selling, only sell puts and cash covered puts and covered calls on SPY and cash covered puts on SPY, and constantly far enough out of the money to get a decent premium income. It really works very well. Doesn't seem to matter what the market is doing. The market is overpriced now. The market is overpriced, and it continues to be overpriced. And in momentum investing, the higher it goes, the more people buy. But one of the few certainties in the market is reversal, momentum reversal. That'll happen for sure. We don't know when, but it'll happen. So
okay, let me understand something. So let's say you are assigned, and you will be assigned for sure, because if you're selling deep into the money calls, there is almost guarantee that you will be assigned, unless it's a very, very bad market. In this case, you will not be assigned, and you will eat your losses on the S&P itself. But let's imagine that that's not going to happen. It will happen from time to time, but okay, most cases it will not happen. Let's see if S&P right now is what, 65,000?
About that, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see, you were saying deep into the money, it means you will sell, say, 63,000 calls, right? So market.
Yeah, okay, that would be good, yeah.
That would be good. Okay, so you will not, let's see, okay, you will assign, most of the cases you will be assigned.
You'll get assigned, absolutely.
Yeah. In this case, you will lose all your money on S&P 500. I mean, not lose, you will not get any premium. You will be assigned at 63, your cost is 65. So hopefully the premium will offset your loss on the S&P.
Yeah, but Sasha, you're quite right about that. And very often the loss on the security, because it's dropping,
will be slightly less than on S&P or more than S&P. So okay, let's see, most likely you will break even. Okay. Now, in case of market, okay, so you will be assigned, you got the tons of cash, you will have exactly 63,000 in cash instead of 65, plus whatever premium you could get out of sold calls. So let's say you will get back to, say you have now 65,500, so you made $500. Okay, now you are selling into the money puts. So in this case, you would sell what, 67,000
into the money.
What put? What kind of puts you would sell? What?
It's at 63, so you would probably sell puts at 65.
Yeah. Okay, that would be good.
You would sell 65 puts. Okay. Now, if the market going down quite substantially, which at this time of the year it's almost predictable, then you will end up with, say, S&P 60,000 on a good day, because I think it will go much lower than that. But say 60.
But Sasha, very often the decline in SPY will exceed the premium income that you make. Very often. But you can ignore that, and the reason you can ignore that, you know that SPY will come back. And the only time it will not come back is when the American empire fails.
No, it's a different story. Okay, listen, Milan, let's talk about some figures, some sense. So let's see if you have now, say, $65,500, and you're selling what, 66,000, 67,000 put?
Okay.
To get some premium. Because if you will sell $60,000 put, you will not get a lot of premium for that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
A covered call.
You're selling 67,000. Let's imagine that S&P, in quite likely scenario, may drop to, say, 60,000.
Yeah, it could happen, yeah.
It can happen easily. So now you don't lose any money on S&P because you don't have S&P, you have only cash.
Right.
But you have to deliver stock, or you have to buy stock at 67,000, which is trading at 60,000. So you're losing, say, $7,000. But S&P will definitely come back in next year, 5 years or whatever time, and you will cover this $7,500 loss.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a fantastic system. Not for me, though.
Not for you. But you can't do better than that. Actually, Sasha, you know what? I've been investing in the stock market for 50 years, and this is the best system I've ever had. You might be able to do better, but it is highly unlikely possible. David Svensson said have an asset allocation of, say, 50-50, 60-40 also works, 55-45, any of those work where you have a lot of cash. And that system, don't pick stocks, just buy the American market as a whole, and SPY is the best example. Doing better than that is close to zero.
Well, Milan, what type of investment are you talking about to make this worth your while? Do you think $10,000 is enough, or do you have to have $100,000?
You have to be able to buy a board lot of SPY, so you need about $65,000.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, are there better ways of making money? Possibly. I haven't seen any. Actually, violins have appreciated, but it only makes sense if you're a violinist yourself. It's a tool that you use.
Stick with what you know.
And at the end, a friend of mine sold his violin for $10 million. He paid $60,000 for it. Yeah.
None of the market wizards played violin. None of them.
And Sasha, you use puts and calls too, but you do it very differently.
Well, let me explain. I don't. You know what? I don't have any aspiration to teach anybody what I'm doing. I only can illustrate what I'm doing, and if it's helpful, that's fine. If it's not, it doesn't bother me because I'm still doing what I'm doing, and that's okay. What I'm doing is this. Let's see my today's account. Remember, it's all fun account. In my fun account, for example, I sold a while ago. You remember the company by the name CRM.
Yes.
CRM had a lousy quarterly report. Sometimes it happens, or maybe it's not so lousy, but market perceives that it's not as brilliant as they thought. Okay, they beat the numbers, the expected numbers, but they didn't beat the whisper numbers. That's what happened to NVIDIA last week, okay?
Yes.
So stock went down big time from 290, went down to 240 something or so on. So what I did, I sold January 16th, 280 puts, and I got almost $3,600 for each put. I sold 3 puts, so you can appreciate what its amount.
So CRM is Salesforce.
CRM, okay? Yeah, they're reporting, okay? However, before January 16th, they will report yet one more time. So even if today they will not do as great as they could, let's see, it's mediocre. Let's say they will drop another $10, $20, whatever, but there is still enough time, including another quarterly report until January 16th. So eventually, even if stock will not go higher, it will just stay where it is now. I will make money on these puts because time that I sold is on my side. Even better example, and I sold more puts on, you all know company, of course, by United Health.
But before we go on to United Health, I just wanted to let you know that just recently they reported that Salesforce is cutting 4,000 jobs due to AI.
Okay. They're up to date, by the way. No, maybe it's because of the upcoming report, but it doesn't really matter. They can hire 10,000 people. They can let go 25,000
Well, that's
people.
what AI is. People are trying to trim their expenses, and the payroll is usually the way that it happens.
Absolutely, you're right.
The solution to that is a guaranteed annual income. It works in Alaska. It has worked in Finland. A guaranteed annual income not enough to make people wealthy enough not to work. And in any system that can be abused will be abused, that there will be a small percentage who will abuse it. But if you have a guaranteed annual income when people are laid off, it doesn't matter. They still have enough to buy groceries and pay the rent. And
What about United Health?
Okay, we are digressing. I'm not interested what they are doing in Finland. All I care about is what's happened with CRM before or at January 16th. Same thing. Also remember on United Health. I sold also January 16th, just to be consistent. I sold only two, sorry, 300 puts when the stock went down from $600 a share to 240. So I said, okay, if I have enough time, it will go higher, maybe to 280, maybe even to 300 or even higher. By the way, it's trading today higher than 300, by the way. I'm already making half of whatever profits I'm going to generate. Half of them I can cash out today, and I will make $4,000 net profit. But I want to keep it because obviously time is on my side. So I will guarantee making money. So if you will calculate the percentage-wise what I'm making on CRM and United Health, you can take your S&P 500 and put where.
You know something? What I want to ask you too, and all the viewers who are looking at this program, is what are we going to do when empires have a 100% failure rate, when the American empire fails? The American empire owned the 21st century, 20th century, and empires have a 100% failure rate. The American empire will fail, guaranteed, based on historical facts. And the next one to arise probably will be in China. But you cannot trust Chinese numbers. The Economist itself said that years ago. You cannot trust Chinese numbers. So what are we going to do when the American empire fails?
One thing that we want to talk about a little bit is the jobs report was pretty depressing. It was the lowest since the middle of the COVID pandemic. So the number of job openings, people looking for jobs, they're having a harder and harder time finding that.
Wait until Friday's jobless report. People who apply for unemployment insurance and that information. Now, Milan, with all due respect, let's not talk about historical parallels of what's happened to Egyptians 3,500 years ago and Romans 2,000 some years ago. Let's talk about very simple correction of 20% to S&P. That will get a lot of people packing, especially those on margin account, as you suggest people should open margin account. All these people will do something else, maybe drive Uber, maybe do some other meaningful jobs, because they will not have any money left to invest. That's for sure. And that, in my opinion, it's almost imminent because of this economic data. What's coming? I even don't think that next week they could lower interest rates. And you know what? If they will lower interest rates 25 points, market will collapse about $1,000 on Dow Jones, because they will say 25 points. It must be 50 a minimum. Now, if they will not lower at all, they will be screaming, you are ruining our economy. It's not the Federal Reserve. It's Trump who is killing this economy. And people don't understand that. Oh, well.
The job numbers are down and the inflation numbers are up. And this is the classic worst case scenario. And is that going to change in the near future? I don't think so. I think the numbers are always trailing the reality. And the reality this has been the case for months now. And the numbers are just catching up and starting to report the facts that jobs are scarce and things cost more. The tariffs are a mindlessly stupid exercise to undertake. The courts are fighting him now, and he's fighting back to whether or not that he had the legal right to do it. And he doesn't care about little things like legalities, as we know, convicted of 31 felonies and suffering no consequences. So these things don't seem to bother him. He thinks he can do whatever he wants. He's president. But we think of what being president means is something different than what Donald Trump thinks it. And so, a friend of mine who's Chinese and grew up there, and he said that the best system is good emperor. The worst system is bad emperor. And right now we have a bad emperor.
Jim, what's the problem is that most likely Supreme Court will side with Trump. Not because they believe that Trump is right about the tariffs, but simply because it's a traditionally Republican-minded Supreme Court. Probably will go on with Trump. But you know what? It's even worse because not only economically the tariffs don't make any sense, politically they're disastrous for America, because look at what's happening in China now. Trump has united all the rest of the world.
He's divided the United States, but he's united the rest of the world against it.
Absolutely. And even Canada is now against Trump. And European unions are playing, so okay, we are waiting. They will announce their tariffs in next 5 months' time, but right now they don't announce any tariffs at all. So they want to play Trump, so he will be helpful to resolve the war in Ukraine or so on. So they don't want to alienate him now. But he will flop on almost every issue, domestic and international. It's a complete disaster for the United States of America.
Question for you.
Sure.
An American president can stay in office during times of war, like FDR did. He was there for 8 years, and he died in office, succeeded by Harry Truman. What are the prospects that Trump will declare war on some country somewhere that he can stay in office?
Well, we passed a law following FDR that limits him to 2 terms, regardless of whether the country is at war or not. However, he can declare a national emergency, declare martial law, and stay in power. So this is a possibility that we can't discount. Who knows what the guy will do?
Most likely he will. Yeah, I know that.
And so, then people will going from door to door searching for illegal immigrants and looking for, you have to show your papers when you're stopped in the street. And these types of things are a Trumpian future if he tries to stay in power beyond his 2-term limitations.
Yeah.
However, if you have faith in the Constitution and the country itself, there has to be people that grow a spine and oppose this, and whether or not they will, and it's going to come down to the military, whether the military supports his illegal actions or whether they stand up against him. I have a feeling they will stand up against him.
The best thing that Hitler did was he committed suicide. Trump is not going to commit suicide, but someday he will die. Not soon enough.
Yeah.
See, the problem is that Supreme Court already made that anything what Trump does as president, he has complete immunity. So therefore, if everything fails, Trump can simply abolish the Constitution of the United States.
Well, they gave him a broad immunity, but not unlimited immunity. So I don't think he can abolish the Constitution.
Well, if he will try to prove that Constitution, which is 200 some years old, is no longer responding to needs of American people, and in order to liberate American people and make their life much more prosperous, all it requires is to abolish the Constitution, full stop, period. And then what?
And 1/3 of the country will support that.
1/3 for sure. Now the 2/3, they will be so spooked by everything what Trump is doing, including using National Guards and so on. They will say, well, okay, so there is a Constitution. Okay, there is no constitution. What makes a difference?
This is why we need immigrants. Some of them come from backgrounds that were had fascist governments, and the deployment of a National Guard that way, that's what fascism looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
Immigrants built North America.
Absolutely.
All of us here, and anybody a generation or two, three ago, was an immigrant and came. The people with the most courage left other countries to come to North America where they didn't speak the language and the food was different and they couldn't read the papers and so on. But they had an opportunity to do something with themselves. So immigrants built North America.
But the courts have decided that it was illegal for Trump to deploy the National Guard. Now he's going to get that up to the Supreme Court. And we're going to have to say, yes, they're traditionally Republican, but the traditional Republican base has been for free trade, for example. So I'm not sure they're going to be so happy about his tariffs. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I am not as pessimistic as I was when the country decided to reelect him, because I thought the better angels of America would surface and he wouldn't get a second chance to do what he did the first time around, which was put amateurs around him, put people that didn't like the departments that they were in charge of, put them in charge of them. So you got an RFK Jr. In charge of your health. So you're not going to get vaccines. You're not, you want to get a shot to avoid getting sick. Give me the shot. For crying out loud. This is crazy. But we have crazy people in charge. So, once that changes, I think we're going to get a healthy dose of reality back into our society. But until it does, we're living in Looneyville.
You see, my problem with all this tariff story is this, that instead of going through Congress, he decided to do it all by himself, use some emergency powers. But where is an emergency to put tariffs all against the rest of the world?
Where's the Canadian emergency?
Economists universally agree that tariffs are not a good thing.
Yeah.
They should be a target. They have their place if they're targeted. For example, if a country is intentionally under paying the costs, for example, using child labor to produce some goods and flooding America with goods that are cheaper than anything that you can produce in a healthy and just society, then target tariffs on that country. But they have to be well reasoned, well thought out, and that is not Trump's strength. But Trump is a schoolyard bully. He wants to take your lunch money. That's how he's treating these countries. And the thing with bullies is, if you punch them in the nose, they don't come around and ask again.
When my friends, people around here, us, talk about Trump, we all have a negative view of him. How did he get elected? Who is supporting him and continues to support him?
Well, unfortunately, the answer, and we've talked about this in the past, is there's a tremendous sense of apathy, especially among the young. We used to rely on the young to help us throw the bums out. But right now, they're not going to the polls. They're not going to vote. And they don't think it matters. But I'm here to tell you it does matter. You get the government you deserve. And if you sit on the sidelines, you deserve what you get.
Yeah.
About tariffs, remember the company by the name Walmart?
Yeah.
Walmart specifically asks that Walmart has to eat these tariffs, whatever they're importing from other countries and selling in the Walmart stores. And Walmart, they were quiet. They didn't agree to that. They didn't disagree with that. But if you go today to Walmart, you see the prices went much higher. A lot of space in Walmart are empty spaces.
That was entirely predictable.
It is predictable. There is a house in the warehouses of Walmart. A lot of people are being fired, including the people who voted for Trump. However, today they're fired, no jobs, and you will not have any jobs for next foreseeable future, at least for 3.5 years. Yeah. Welcome to hell. You voted for hell, welcome to hell.
These tariffs, he thinks, and some people think along with him, that they're punishing these countries. But no, they're punishing the American consumer. These are taxes on the American consumer. Your money is going to the federal government. It's just like a tax. And you're against taxes. Why would you be for tariffs?
You know what? I spoke to a few days ago to people that I know quite well, and they are very highly educated people, pro-Trump, and they believe that, okay, when there is, say, 30% tariffs against, say,
India?
European Union, for example.
Okay.
Okay, it's 15%. European Union, 15%. So they imagine, they don't understand the mechanics of it. What they thought is that any product comes to America has 15%, which Europeans, whatever country send that stuff, would have to pay on top of that. And I said, where did you get this information? They don't pay anything. All they do is they deliver product. Importer, American importer, picks the product. He has to pay 15%. Then it's up to him to charge same 15% on top of the price, which will make product much more expensive.
To the consumer.
Make only half of it, and another half will be borne by consumers, or give it all to consumers to pay, because they cannot absorb 100%.
Either hurt their bottom line or pass it on to the consumer. What choice are they going to make? Of course, they're going to pass it on to the consumer more often than eating the
Walmart has shareholders to report to.
Yeah,
public
they got quarterly reports they have to make. They can't show declines in profitability.
Tariffs. There was one company, if I remember correctly, was, I think, Target. What Target did, they said, okay, here is a price, what you will have to pay. But here is a 15% of tariffs that you also have to pay. So your total price is the basic plus 15%. That's the price. Trump was furious. And I think he came very hard on Target that they must abolish this strategy and just say, well, here is a price and that's it. Okay, so they agreed. Probably Trump would dissolve Target and maybe sold it to Walmart or to somebody
Mobilize
else.
the National Guard.
They put National Guard, sold it to his son, maybe. So anyway, it was abolished, but it didn't change the business. The nature of the business is still the same. The only thing is that it's hidden. And so a friend of mine, their impressions that this tariffs are being paid by Europeans, by Canadians, by Australians. What an ignorance. I feel so sorry for them.
Well, I try to look at it as, who's your information sources? Who's telling you this information? And so if you're only going to get, Trump supporters telling you what's going on in the world, then you're going to get information that's bad. And that bad information is going to become your thinking, and that's how you're going to vote. And so, what they've done is mobilize the media, and Rupert Murdoch is excellent at that. He did a fantastic job of mobilizing media to convince people of a certain way of thinking. And you look at some of the programming, and it's hour after hour saying the same things, saying the same sound bites. And so if you only watch one of those shows, you're still hearing the same thing, because they're all repeating it all day long.
Something very interesting, and we will finish. Yesterday, I was completely shocked because at that time on CNN, they showed something. They discussed Epstein files that they were partially released or something like this. And I was informed by one of very close people to me that you don't understand what it's all about, Epstein files. So can you tell me then? And I'm not sure myself 100% what it's all about. And he told me that this is something to do that Israel, particularly Mossad, was very closely involved with Epstein files.
Really?
And they want to prove that it was all designed by Israelis. That's something I've never heard in my life.
I have not heard that.
Yeah.
You heard that, yeah?
No, I have not. I never heard that.
And I asked, what's your source? Where did you figure out?
Yeah.
He says, you don't know? Listen to Tucker Carlson.
Oh, okay. That's why I've never heard it.
Me too. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for today's program.
Thank you, Sasha.
A lot
Pleasure to
of
be here.
ground.
Good to see you again, Milan. Up and about.
See you. And we'll see you next Wednesday, same place, same time.
And
Bye
look
bye,
for
everybody.
green on your screen. Bye bye.
Yes. Good luck. Bye bye.